Hey guys, Forristicat here. Yeah, it's been a while since I posted something on Talkback World, so I've got a lot of thoughts on a lot of stuff, to be honest, and I'm sort of like, becoming more opinionated over time, and I'm sort of going to go through the backlog here of TV shows I've personally watched. I've still got like the whole of the X-Files series I need to watch, but yeah, the main purpose of this sort of conversation is to give my thoughts on the TV series House. So, a lot of stuff out there. I thought, what the hell? I wanted to get into some sort of medical show. Being, a little bit more than semi interested in the medical sort of world. When I go to hospitals, I'm sort of interested in what doctors do, etc., etc. And I just kept on seeing advertisements for House, and I thought, yeah, this sounds good. I want to get into it. So I started getting into it. So I wanted to express my thoughts on the TV series. So unfortunately, this TV show House, starring Hugh Laurie. First of all, credit cannot be taken away from Hugh Laurie. Actors, actresses, they're only as good as the writers that are writing for them, and whatever Hugh Laurie does to act is incredible. Like, seriously, like I think he did actually win an Emmy Award, or if not, he definitely deserved one, because he put his heart and soul into the character, and you would have to be stupid not to notice that he's a fantastic actor for his character of Gregory House that he portrayed. But as I was trying to say, like, the main problem with the TV series House is it succumbed at the end to the spinning its wheels industry. The typical the TV industry spinning its wheels, the writers spinning their wheels. That's exactly what happened. So 24 off the top of my head did this as well. So the first couple of seasons, you probably know what I'm going to say, were fantastic. The writing was fresh, the cases were emotionally compelling. The main thing about House is that, well, for me, this is how I took it. You really want him to show some emotion. You really want him to show some sort of caring for his characters, for the patients he interacts with. To start off with, you're like, yep, he's sharp, razor sharp wit, intelligent, has a disregard for humans overall, and after a while, you long for him to hug a patient, and that's sort of like the wild card in this scenario. Like, you really sort of want him to sort of like for the clouds to sort of part, and for him to actually connect emotionally with his patients. And one of the episodes, I think it was named Autopsy, I can't remember, it was early on, I think it was in season 1 or 2. One of his sort of patients, a girl, he's just standing up, and this girl patient just comes up to him and like hugs him around his legs, and then he sort of doesn't know really what to do, so he hugs like the girl back. That sort of like massive polarization of having this House character never sort of like wanting to sort of like be sort of like empathetic to his patients, but at the same time having that sort of like vacuum hole syndrome, like, please just show some sort of care towards your patients at least once. That was sort of like a major sort of like theme throughout the show. So the first couple of seasons were great. The original team was fantastic. Dr. Foreman, Chase, the Australian, Cameron, they were great. They were fantastic. Like, they had like interesting enough personalities, different enough personalities to sort of add different sort of balances to the show, which made the show work. When they started changing the team, look, I understand the writers wanting to try something new, but believe it or not, that's where the show started to go downhill. Once again, I understand the reason for it, to try and keep things fresh. However, if you want to try and keep things fresh, try and also keep them not crap, because that's what happened. You've got 12, you've got 13, you've got, at the end of the series, you had the Asian girl. I I can't remember what her name was. Basically, the writers were spinning the wheels. It's very obvious. I mean, you watch the TV show House, first couple of seasons, 1, 2, 3, 4, great, compelling television. I loved it. I loved the mystery. But then, like I said, it's succumbed to the spinning its wheels syndrome, and the TV show, in a similar vein to 24, became a parody of itself. So when that happens, it's dangerous territory, because basically your show is effed. The show became effed. So like there's only so many times where House can like crack these jokes and maintain that sort of like aloofishness and razor sharp wit before it's natural for the characters within the TV shows to make comments on that. So the show sort of almost became too complicated for its own good. So for example, they're discussing a case and then it got involved with the politics, but in a non-interesting way. So for example, just imagine the house of I'm tired. The cast of House is behind me, and they're sort of discussing a case, and there's something like, don't do that. Why? Oh, because House is doing this because of blah blah blah. Oh, okay, so you're doing this because X, Y, Z. No, because if I'm doing Z, that means Y, and if you do Y, blah 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 blah. You see, it got into that a little bit too much, and that to me was boring. It was boring. Like sure, have a little bit of that, but it sort of like felt like towards the end of the run, like the show sort of had reliance on too much of like hospital politics for my liking. The character of Lisa Cuddy, fantastic. Like the sexual tension between her and House really was a fantastic element to have in the mix of the TV show right from the get-go, and him sort of like flirting with her liking him, but never sort of fully like involving herself with him. That was great, and kudos for the writers for thinking of that from the beginning. But a major problem I had with House is that towards the end they started playing with my emotions, and just so you don't get me wrong, like of course like it's good to be on an emotional roller coaster with things. So if you like look at my if you look at my avatar thing, you got like a Triforce, right? That's from the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, my favorite game so far. But it also represents the 3 elements of stories, which if you've been watching my videos, I've mentioned a billion times: story, characters, and emotion, the trifecta. So if you sort of start playing with people's emotions and make what I like to refer to as unconscious promises, you have to be very careful. Let me give you an example. Towards the end of the series, House's best friend Wilson, which is another major card. You got Lisa Cuddy, and you got James Wilson. He's sort of House's sort of anchor to reality, and if there was ever a hope for sort of him sort of becoming more connected with people, it would be as a result of being his friend, James Wilson's friend. Towards the end, there's a scene where he's trying to motivate Dr. Wilson to stay alive, to not give up, because he gets diagnosed with cancer. So, major mistake, huge mistake. Out of nowhere, this is what's probably happening. The writers room, okay, this is the final season of House. Yep, we need to do something. Let's give James Wilson cancer because he's a cancer doctor, and it'll make House sort of more emotional. Oh, hold on a second, guys. We haven't made any sort of reference to him being sick at all in any episode. Don't worry about it. This is do it. What the hell? This is really stupid. This is insulting. I mean, it's just like the TV show Lost. Like you can't just sure open up some loops, but you have to forward plan. If you don't do that, it's very obvious that these guys are scrambling up a slippery slope, trying to sort of make the last season spectacular or whatever. It's very hard to do that if you haven't made reference to it. Anyway, there is a scene at the end where he's in a cafeteria with Dr. James Wilson, and then he's sort of like saying, like how many people have been sort of saved by Dr. James Wilson, the cancer doctor. And then one lady stands up, another lady stands up, another young boy stands up, everyone stands up and starts clapping or whatever. And then at the end, he makes James Wilson sort of like test to see if this is true, and he finds out that this is just a rouse. It was just a fabrication for House to sort of try and get him to sort of stay alive, and then it turns out it's all a trick. What? You cannot have a emotionally, what I thought to be, touching moment like that, and then pull the rug from under the viewers and saying, "Ha! Just kidding. It's one of House's gambits again." Sure, for something little like playing a prank with the plumbing or something, no worries. But you cannot have like an emotionally touching moment like that and then say jokes. You just can't do it. Like I said, there was an unconscious promise, like, this is going to be a touching moment. Just kidding. You can't do that. In a similar way, a couple of episodes before this episode, it's revealed that Dr. James Wilson had a son. Once again, that is a fantastic idea. I like it. Sort of came out of nowhere. Yeah, sure, like it wasn't like the cancer thing. I accepted it. I thought, okay, whatever, maybe he does have a son. And I really, really liked the relationship that they presented between Dr. James Wilson and his son. Then what happened? Just kidding, guys, it's another gambit by House. You can't do that. You can't do that. Unless it's done a particular way, you can't make this sort of like touching promises and then say, oh, it's just, this is just sort of like that emotional, that thing you got emotional for, that was a joke. Sorry about that. You just can't do it. It didn't work and it was crap. So basically, coming up on, I think it's 16 minutes for this video. House was the thing with House, like it kept on pumping like stories and stories that at the end of the day, of course, once it's reached its peak, like I said, like there's only so many sort of references, funny jokes, gambits and stuff that you can sort of squeeze out of the House character before he becomes sort of boring, and like I said, like the show starts to spin its wheels. And unfortunately, it sort of got to that point after a few seasons, and I was watching it mainly because I like to see shows through to the end. If I spend so much time, buying the DVDs and watching all these episodes, I thought, okay, well, at least I need to see how it ends. Medical mystery, the idea of like this sociopath doctor, fantastic idea. I like sort of like the way the episodes has sort of like a movie feel to them, some of the season premieres and stuff like that. But overall, like a crap season finale, definitely crap. I expected something much greater for the final episode of House. So writers, you fucked up. The season finale was crap. And overall, though, there was enough sort of good moments. And I hate to say this, but it's always the case, I guess, with most TV shows nowadays. There's always good enough moments to begin with in the first couple of seasons to sort of make up for the lack of forward planning and writing, which sort of made the show teeter off towards the end of the series. So basically, with 1 minute to go or thereabouts, House was a good show. It was great at times, fantastic. But then after a couple of seasons, the writers were starved for ideas. They were throwing some stuff in the mix there, but it was nowhere near as good writing quality as it was for the first couple of seasons. It was good to sort of have like a popular medical drama into the mix of TV shows I watch, but towards the end, throwing these sort of like last resort storylines with no sort of like lead up to them, it was very obvious that these writers were just scrambling for anything, and too many sort of like like emotionally compelling moments that just turned out to be a joke on House's part, which sort of jarred my experience a little bit. That's all I really have to say. I mean, hopefully you got something out of this review. I'm going to do some more reviews later. I'll review some other stuff right after this video. Take care and peace.